So how long does it actually take to study for the PTE core exam? In this video, we're going to break down the essential study tips as well as a study outline at the end of the video so that you can see, depending on your level, how much time do I need to focus on studying. We'll also share different ways that you can maximize your time and things that you should and shouldn't be focusing on. Because, well, time is money and we don't have time to waste. So let's jump into the video. First, I want to talk about how much time you need depending on your English level. Now, everyone's beginning with a different level, and so that will reflect how much time you need to study. And I do want to be honest here that it will take time. You can consider this an investment into your education or your immigration pass to Canada because, well, we're not going to learn English overnight. But with the effective study plan that we'll provide at the end, you'll see that it's very manageable and you can work this into your daily schedule. But you should be carving out some time in your daily life to be influenced by English. We need daily contact with English content. So coming to this video was a really good start. Now, we'll give you lots of different resources so that you can study online with AI, with other websites for mock tests. But if you're looking for that one-on-one personal touch, or you really just want a personal tutor, follow us down below, click the link so that you can contact us. We'll get you in touch with a personal tutor that will build a study plan for you and also keep you on track, keep you motivated to make sure that you really get that score that you need. Now, it goes without saying that if you are a total beginner to English, it's going to take you more time to prepare. But that's okay. The chances are that you are already in the studying mentality, and so you're ready to delve into a study plan. If you are an advanced speaker and you're very close to taking the test, well, you'll consider having just 1 month to brush up on the PTE core exam structure and all of the tips that follow so that you can just make sure you get that score and you're not really wasting time with random articles online or random exams. Now, if you don't currently know your level, I suggest doing a few different things. There's online tests like the HZad, which will analyze your reading and writing skills, as well as Speech Ace, which is an AI generator, and it helps to analyze your speaking score. Both of them will provide your estimated IELTS, PTE, CELPIP test score so that you'll know where do you sit right now. But I'll give you a general idea. For beginners, A1 or A2, you're thinking of about 3 months of study plan, and you're going to dedicate around 15 hours per week. Maybe it seems like a lot, but again, it's an investment into your time, your education, and your future. Intermediate speakers are around that B1, B2 level. Those are people that can maintain a healthy conversation, they can listen to news online, and they can answer questions with general fluency. Some mistakes here are totally okay. 1 to 3 months is very doable. I promise you, if you're at that intermediate level and you brush up on your skills, dedicate the time, you can take the test within 1 to 3 months. So if you're looking into immigration now, you probably are planning for a few months out. That gives you exactly enough time to get ready for the test and focus on those areas. Now, for advanced speakers, well, you've already put in the time and you probably have studied a little bit about the exam format. So, around 2 to 4 weeks is very achievable for you to get your score. A couple hours a week is all you'll need to dedicate, and we're focusing here mostly on common mistakes in the exam, vocabulary, and just generally the structure of the exam. So you'll be doing mostly the mock test. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to prioritize the intermediate speakers because that's the bulk of our students. And so we'll really create this study plan so that you can study within 1 to 3 months. Based on our previous students, we really see that it's not just about the amount of hours you put into studying, it's really how effective is your studying. So after years of analyzing our students taking tests like the PTE Core or the IELTS or the CELPIP exam, we found a way to master your time so that you are studying efficiently within those time periods. A lot of it is going to come from English content. listening online, speaking to AI generators, reading English articles. But what I want you to think about is the speed. During the exam, speed is the hardest criteria. Students are comfortable reading articles and answering questions, but when you're in the exam, you're put under pressure. So please focus on things like speed reading, listening to an audio that is at 1.5 times the speed. So, in the case of the exam, if you get a very fast audio, you'll be more comfortable with it. And on average, a native English speaker will read at about 200 to 250 words per minute. This should be your goal, if not faster. But in addition to just speed reading, you should be comfortable with skimming and scanning the text. In the exam, you're not always going to have time to read the full passage, especially when it's an answer where you have to drag the question or select the correct answer, like the multiple choice or question and multiple answer. In this case, you just want to be comfortable looking for key vocabulary words. And by skimming and scanning the text, you're able to identify that much faster. But let's take a look at some other essential study tips that you can focus on. Now, there is a debate between studying English and studying PTE core exam. It is an exam just like all others. So you want to focus your time appropriately to know the format of the exam, and that way you're not surprised when you jump into it. So if your English is already very strong, we recommend spending 70% of your time on test strategies and practice questions. So mock exams, tests online, different ways that you can analyze your score. But if you're in that beginner and intermediate range, well, you'll need to spend 60% of your time improving your general English and 40% of the time practicing the test, the PTE core exam. So, what is your daily study plan going to look like? And yes, it's daily. Please don't think that we could only spend 1 hour a week on English to pass the test. So, the first thing we're going to do is spend time on PTE questions. Spend a lot of time looking for your weak areas. Now, the next two can be a little bit fun: listening to English podcasts and news, and practicing with an AI tool or a tutor. Both of these you should make enjoyable. Science will tell us that the more that you enjoy learning and you find it engaging and rewarding, the more likely you are to continue this. Of course, if you're looking for a real life tutor, please go ahead and reach out to one so you get maybe 1 to 2 hours a week speaking with a native English speaker. They will help you learn about the nuances in English and make you feel more comfortable. Now, having a study plan is essential. If you don't have a study plan, it's very easy to think that you're improving, and then when you enter the exam, you might be shocked by the results. Now, this is a 4 week study plan that we've based off of intermediate students. If your level is lower than that, please increase the amount of time. Week number 1 is understanding the test format and assessing your level. Remember, intermediate speakers already have a very good grasp of English, but they need to refine their skills. So we're going to focus on the following. First, learn the test format so that you get a general understanding. That should take about 2 hours. And then take a full mock test. The reason you're doing this on day 1 or day 2 is because you need to understand your current speaking level, and that will give you an idea of how many weeks to study. Spend a few hours, 1 or 1.5, to analyze your test results and identify your weak areas. In fact, this might not take 1.5 hours. But if you see that spelling is your weakest area, use a source like ChatGPT to go ahead and make you some spelling exams or spelling tests and keep practicing that. Now, we're also going to spend about 1 to 1.5 hours targeting your PTE training so that you're starting to get familiar with the grammar, the pronunciation, and the test format. In total, this week will take about 10 to 13 hours, and it is one of the lightest weeks. In week number 2, we're really focusing on strengthening your core English skills and doing more practice tests. So in total, we're looking at about 15 hours here throughout the week. 2.5 hours to listening and speaking. So you can do maybe 30 minutes a day. One great example is to shadow a native speaker. So listen to a TED Talk, and after every few sentences, pause the video and speak just like you heard it. This will help with pronunciation, fluency, intonation, as well as becoming more comfortable with academic vocabulary. Every day, try to put in 30 minutes of reading. Like I mentioned before, you can take up an article that you like or an English novel. There are dozens of good English novels you can read, or just the news. Every day, dedicate 30 minutes of writing. You can do this in two ways. The best way is to summarize a passage and practice essay writing. This will come up in the PTE exam. Write your thoughts in English so that you're looking at good structures, grammar structures, etc. And you could also put that on something like Grammarly, so it will correct your grammar as you are writing, and you'll get more comfortable with it. Now, in week number 2, I will say the most challenging section is to dedicate 1 hour a day to PTE specific training. Many of our students have broken this up into two sections. So you could do 30 minutes during your lunch break and 30 minutes after work or school. That will just be a little bit more comfortable for you. Week 3 gets a little bit more intense, but it's around 14 to 16 hours per week. Intensive PTE practice and timed drills. We're focusing on speed. Do a mock test right at the beginning of this week. That's 2.5 hours. Compare your results from week 1. Let's see if you've made any progress, and hopefully you have. Continue working on your weak areas. So your pronunciation, your grammar, your speaking, fluency, etc. A timed practice session means that you are practicing under speed. So you can do this in a variety of different ways, but we're looking for speed. Listening to podcasts, reading articles in a fast skimming scanning method, or writing paragraphs or writing emails in a short period of time. And finally, you're going back to your weak areas. So we're choosing grammar, pronunciation, etc. And we're going to spend about 30 minutes per day focusing on these areas. Now you'll see in week 3, we're looking at the areas that you need the most improvement. Now that's because just 1 month is a very short period of time to increase your English level. So we need to develop the lowest links first. Now, in week number 4, you're getting very close to the PTE exam, so we're going to do a lot of mock test and a final review. 2 mock tests this week. Now, very manageable, and actually you'll find this quite enjoyable because you're not studying elsewhere, you're just doing a mock test. We're going to continue working on time drills. So we're focusing on managing time and eliminating wrong answers. In the PTE exam, they always have a timer at the top of the screen. So whatever the question is, we need to do that in the allotted amount of time. Now, one last thing we want to work on is reviewing the high frequency words and grammars used in the exam. These exams are kind of recycled, although they do make adjustments to them. So they use the same vocabulary set and the same questionnaires. Go ahead online and look at the most commonly used words. Make sure that you understand them, you can define them so that they don't stump you or confuse you during the exam. So that's our 4-week study plan. It has been used by a lot of different students, and it does help you to identify what areas that you need to drill harder and focus on more. One of the most common mistakes that people have is not managing time well during the exam, and that's why the time drills are so essential. So to answer your question, how long does it really take to prepare for the PTE core exam? It truly depends on your level and the amount of time that you can dedicate per week. We're looking at about 4 to 8 weeks for an intermediate speaker. Stick to a structured study plan and a routine so it can help you to build in this pattern into your life, and you'll understand the test taking skills and practice regularly. Now, if you found this information helpful, remember to hit that like and subscribe button to the channel. You could also reach out to us, get a one-on-one personal teacher so that you can learn more study tips. I'm Scott from HZad Education. It's a pleasure seeing you in this video, and I hope you pass that test soon. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.